Los Angeles Times article here. Gavin Newsom's secretive $1 billion mask deal with Chinese automaker sparks bipartisan concerns. So let's explore this a little bit here. And I actually hadn't heard about this until today. So I wanted to talk about it. Actually, I wanted to read a lot more about it and kind of explore it and see if it's as shady as they make it sound, because Gavin Newsom, such a fine, upstanding individual, he would never do anything untrustworthy, right? So let's explore this a little bit. Now, this is actually from April 20th. It says Gavin Newsom's decision to spend almost $1 billion in taxpayer funds to buy protective masks drew national attention as an aggressive move by California to solve one of the most nagging problems of the crisis. But almost 2 weeks after he announced the deal during a cable TV interview, very few details have been disclosed. The governor's advisors have so far declined requests for information about the agreement with BYD, the Chinese electric car manufacturer hired to produce the masks, though the state has already wired the company the first installment of $495 million. Newsom, who has been praised for his efforts to slow the spread of the disease, bristled on Saturday at suggestions that his administration has been too slow to explain a deal that will cost California taxpayers 30% more than his January budget would spend on infectious disease prevention for an entire fiscal year. I'm for outcome here, Newsom shot back when asked by a reporter about withholding the contract's details. Some are consumed by process, personality, intrigue, who's up, who's down. We are for actually solving a major, major problem, not only for the state, but potentially a template for the country. And he always likes to think with his ego that California leads the way, that the nation looks to Californians for its solutions. So ego, California politicians, what can you say, right? But a bipartisan chorus of concerns has emerged in the legislature. Lawmakers have grown increasingly frustrated that the governor's advisors have asked only for expedited approval to spend money without briefing them on what has been agreed to. I must emphasize that's a big deal. State Senator Jim Nelson, a Republican from Gerber, said of the agreement during a legislation oversight hearing on Thursday. And what is in the contract that ensures the deliverability timely is going to be really, really important. At the least, we cannot be just throwing out a false hope to people. BYD, a Shenzhen-based company whose initials stand for Build Your Dreams, has staked its reputation on building electric vehicles. It has a U.S. subsidiary based in Los Angeles with a vehicle manufacturing facility in Lancaster. The company currently employs about 1,000 people in California, a company spokesman said. Exactly how BYD has converted some of its manufacturing efforts in China to begin producing protective masks is unclear. On March 13th, it touted the creation of the world's largest mass-produced face masks plant. In a news release posted on the company's website, the company announced that it would make 5 million masks a day, far surpassing the 100 million masks a month promised by 3M, the company best known for producing N95 masks, used to help prevent the spread of the thing. A spokesman for BYD referred all questions about negotiations over the purchase of masks to Newsom's office. Newsom and other top officials have described the gambit as straightforward. Leverage the state government's purchasing power, backed up by a multi-billion-dollar cash surplus, to buy 200 million masks a month. The masks would then be distributed to healthcare and emergency workers across California, a supply chain that would continue through the end of June. Administration officials have said that each monthly shipment from BYD will contain 150 million N95 masks and 50 million surgical masks. So 200 million masks a month, continue through the end of June. So are we talking April, May, June, 3 months? So that's $900 million for 600 million masks, assuming that we're going to see 200 million in April, May, and June. So that's, what, roughly $1.33 per mask. Just throwing some math out there real quick. We made a big, bold bet on a new strategy, and it's bearing fruit, Newsom said on April 8th. That same day, the Times asked for a copy of the contract to purchase the masks, On Monday, the Governor's Office of Emergency Services delayed responding to the request until May 4th. So they're telling you by May 4th we'll respond, and we're sitting out here in April, so we still have to wait another week, 10 days for the response? BYD is well known in California government circles. In 2013, then Governor Jerry Brown announced the company's decision to build electric buses in Southern California during a trade mission to China. It was a key component of the state's efforts to reduce greenhouse gases, he said. There's some more to this story here. I'll just scan through it real quick, so pause it if you want to go ahead and read the rest of this. So here's a little something I found interesting. We skipped past some of the stuff. They were just talking about the electric buses, but check this out. It says, in the years since it set up shop in California, BYD has quietly but steadily ramped up its governmental and political pressure. The company has spent more than $1 million lobbying state officials since 2014 and made a $50,000 contribution to a 2018 ballot measure campaign to keep in place California's new taxes on gas and diesel sales. Oh, I get it. I see what they're doing. Am I understanding this right? Okay, so a $50,000 contribution to keep in place the new taxes on gas and diesel sales. So what are they trying to do there? They're trying to play the other side. If they're with the electric buses, they're trying to create hatred in a way of the gas and oil industry. They want to keep prices high in gas and oil prices, or we should say in gas prices, since that's what we see at the pump. But they're trying to keep prices high so that would in some way eventually drive people to want more and more electric buses, hating the prices they pay at the pump and wanting electric vehicles in the future. Am I understanding that right? I don't know. In 2015, the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development awarded BYD a $3 million tax credit to expand its manufacturing in California to other kinds of electric vehicles. And there it is. But the company forfeited more than $1 million of the incentive. The tax credit was based on an optimistic business forecast that was ultimately revised. Okay, well, I'll scroll down a little bit so you can read the rest of the article if you want while I kind of give my thoughts on it. Anything China does, obviously it comes with the extended palm, and something must be placed in that palm. In this case, it's monetary. $900 million of taxpayer money. Now, I certainly get the need. I get why they took this step. But all I keep moving back to, or all I keep going back to, is China's making out like a bandit in all of this. A situation that they let get out of hand. And I've talked about this in my other videos, but a situation that they let get out of hand to begin with. Now look at them. $900 million contract for 3 months worth of work. Granted, it's supposed to be 600 million units, but again, I've said this also in my other videos, when in the infancy of this, when they were in cahoots with the World Health Organization, when they first had told the World Health Organization that this wasn't something that could be transferred human to human, and the WHO parroted that, and then eventually China did come out and admit this. All the while, they were purchasing PPEs and other protective equipments from, masks and everything like that from other countries and sending them back home. That during that period of time, when they say 5 or 6 days when China knew human-to-human transmission was possible and they didn't report it to the WHO, their central planning in their government could have had no idea, or maybe they did, maybe they're this good, that it would have amounted to all of these contracts later on. All of this stuff that they let loose on the world, their slow reaction to it, their inability to control it within their own borders, of course, and again, pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, letting their citizens travel everywhere and spread this virus around the world. They could have had no idea, and like I said, maybe they did, that it would have amounted to this. Almost a $1 billion contract here. China created its own demand for its manufacturing. So China won. China won so far. And Newsom feels that probably he had to do this, but it makes me wonder if there's some kind of kickback for his administration or some other kind of kickback that we're going to see down the road. Like we've seen here, that this company already does its work with the electric buses here, BYD, and they've already made political donations. So it makes me wonder at some point, because my feeling is that Newsom's going to run for president. I could see it happening as soon as 2024, to be honest. So obviously we don't know this now, but it makes me wonder, with all of his cooperation with the Chinese now, how much money they're going to be contributing to his campaign going forward. Now, I would love to see him get booted out of office. And as I've said in other videos, like with de Blasio, I wouldn't care if they put another Democrat in office, but anybody they put in there, another Democrat even, would have to do better than de Blasio. And I would love it if Californians found a way to boot this clown out of office. And even if it was another Democrat, it can't be worse than Newsom. It can't. I mean, there's hope. I mean, I hope it's not. But that said, interesting, right? Every story that we come across in dealing with the Chinese, do you always notice how it's got more layers than just what's on the surface? It's never just, oh, we're going to give this company X amount of dollars and they're going to give us a bunch of masks. It's never that. There's always something that's deeper. It's always next level, 2 levels down. It's always something that's further ingrained within the society here, where the Chinese and their companies always have some kind of stronghold in business within the United States. Now, granted, we have plenty of global companies on our own, but I don't know. As we've seen, it's just, I've said it so many times, I just can't, I can't understand why we continue to have to bend over for them. But on the other hand, I've said this too, you have to give the Chinese credit. Their central planning has put themselves in a place where the world really can't do without their manufacturing capabilities. So much as I hate to say it, I always tell people this, you have to give them credit, because instead of just being a company that, for instance, call centers, where the US outsources their labor there, and there's no real other huge investment in anything else. Granted, this is different, it's manufacturing, but China was able to successfully use all of that money coming in to convert it to assets outside the country and political influence. So, hey, as much as I don't like it, I got to give credit where credit's due. But again, when will we break the ties? I know now's not the time, but man, the Chinese are sure making out like bandits in this. What do you think, everybody? They're effing us pretty hard, right? And here's another example. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks for watching my video, and be well as always.